The world, particularly in Gaza and the surrounding areas, that was before October 7th, is going to be totally different after October 7th. What we've witnessed in the past 10 months, particularly on the day of the attacks on October 7th, is that many of the strategic points that Israel has been living under. Here we're talking about the deterrence that Israel exhibited. We're talking about its military strength, its ability to be the hegemon in the region, its ability to dictate the discourse, whether the political discourse, the strategic discourse, as well as other assets that it has. All that has been shattered by October 7th. Israel has been shaken to the core. Many of the strategic points have been undermined. We could see, for example, that its military doctrine has been undermined. The military doctrine of Israel depends on 6 particular imperatives. The first one is preemptive strikes. For the first time, Israel has been hit and hit hard, and that's what happened October 7th. The second is early warning systems. These have also failed miserably on October 7th, and it has been undermined. And since then, we have seen attacks coming from the north, from Hezbollah, from the south, Ansarullah, or even when it came to Iran, and this was even announced, and yet ballistic missiles have been able to get through, meaning that early warning system has also been not very effective. Third is effective deterrence, and we could see that that has also failed miserably. Israel, whenever it hits, it's being hit back. We saw that Hezbollah has declared basically a low-intensity war since October 8th, and it's been able to blind most of the radars in the north. Tens of thousands of people had to leave the north. They haven't been able to come back. We've also seen that Hamas and Jihad and other factions have been fighting for 10 months. They haven't surrendered. In fact, they have been bleeding Israel in a war of attrition. The fourth principle is strong defense, and that also has been undermined because Israel has not been able to end this war. And many experts would tell you that Israel has not been able to win this war. They cannot declare victory, and even though they have the balance of power is in their favor, and they have all these planes and armaments and missiles and tanks and shells, they have a whole armada that the US and Europe have been providing them, and yet they're not able to end this war in their favor. And we can say so much about this. Their reserve army has been exhausted. The economy has been in ruins because of that. Most of the reservists are unable to go back. And not even to speak of the hundreds of thousands, most of them Ashkenazi with dual citizenship. They had to leave the state, leaving it behind. The whole Zionist enterprise has been undermined and has been shattered. The fifth principle is quick resolution. Israel is used to end the war in its favor within a few hours or few days. We've seen that numerous times, particularly in 1967. They said the 6-day war, but actually the whole war ended in 6 hours. But Israel is unable to end this war after almost 320 days of continuous fighting. So that even principle has been deterred. And then the final one is what's called escalation dominance. And of course, we have seen Israel trying to use that in terms of their assassination policies. They assassinated military leaders for Hezbollah in Lebanon, as well as political and military leaders for Hamas. But even with all that escalation dominance, it's still unable to end the wars or declare victory. We have seen that with Ansarullah. They continue to target them. So the whole military doctrine of Israel has been at least weakened, if not totally undermined. That is only because of October 7th. Israel's military doctrine also depends on building security barriers, and that's what it's trying to do with Gaza. But today, they're unable to do that. The whole south, the whole north have been evacuated. 70% of Israeli citizens have been basically living in a very small area within Jaffa or within Tel Aviv and Haifa, and that brings a strategic problem. The depth that they have always been seeking is no longer there because of these policies, because of this behavior of genocidal. I don't think they can, for a long time, convince anybody in the neighborhood or even worldwide that they seek peace or peaceful relation with any of their neighbors after people have seen what kind of system, what kind of regime, policies they pursue by killing tens of thousands of people without 70% of which are women and children, without any feelings, without having any way to avoid, which were avoidable, such catastrophic consequences. So I think when we talk about what the future holds for us, I think in the past, people were hoping for a two-state solution. I believe that train has left the station and it is impossible to bring it back. That leaves only two options. One option is Israeli hegemony, Israeli control, Israeli to dictate the future of the region by imposing, and this is exactly what Netanyahu and his ilk, Smotrich and Ben Gvir and others have been advocating. This would be a total victory. This is going to be a greater Israel, in which the whole region would have to succumb to this fact, accept it, and if they don't accept it, then they will get the treatment of Gaza. They will be eliminated in the same way they think they could eliminate Gaza. And the other is that we are living under a regime, under an ideology that is settler, colonialist, racist, supremacist, as well as aggressive regime and ideology that is trying to replace the Palestinians and replace them with other people by force, and in which case the region would either have to accept this or fight it. And to fight it, that means that this kind of warfare, unfortunately, would stay with us for a long time until the whole world would understand that this is unsustainable. Israel as an apartheid state, or as a state that seeks ethnic cleansing in order to end apartheid, both of these options are rejected. They will not be accepted, and therefore the only possible solution in light of the failure of the two-state solution is to dismantle a racist, supremacist regime, after which the whole region could live in peace and stability. And we have other examples in which this happened. The best example, of course, is South Africa, but we also have other examples that happen in France, Vietnam, and others, in which people who seek independence and liberation and freedom, if they don't give up, then the aggressor would have to withdraw and they would have to leave. And in this case, it's a little bit more complicated because we have a settler colonialist regime, in which case there has to be a total dismantlement of this regime for a peaceful resolution to emerge.